Hello, good afternoon. This is Ellen Benzine. I'm an account manager with Swipe Clock, and I support ApplicantStack products, being ApplicantStack Recruit and Onboarding. I welcome all of you to the Ask Me Anything hour this afternoon. It is the top of the hour, but let's give it another minute or two for a couple stragglers to access or attend, and then we'll get started. All right. Let's get going here. Again, my name is Ellen Benzine. I'm an account manager, and I will be conducting the Ask Me Anything hour this afternoon. But with me for assistance is Brandon Peterson, who is also an account manager with Swipe Clock. We're going to go ahead and get started, but I do want to mention a couple things, and I'll show you some links in a minute. We are conducting a product webinar, ApplicantStack Recruit product webinar on December 19th. And we will have our verified first partner representative with us on that webinar. And she's actually going to demonstrate the integration that we have with ApplicantStack Recruit and Onboarding and verified first. So that's going to be a pretty exciting webinar. And I would ask all of you to click on the link that I'm going to show you in the announcement section of your ApplicantStack homepage in order to register. This afternoon's Ask Me Anything hour, we're actually going to discuss other products that ApplicantStack integrates with. So I just mentioned verified first, but do know that we have a couple other product integrations, or I should say a handful of product integrations, some of which you see there on the screen. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a deeper dive into each one of those. I'm going to bring up my ApplicantStack demo. So you should all be seeing my ApplicantStack Recruit homepage right now. And I have signed on as an ApplicantStack administrator because in discussing integrations and in order to navigate to our integrations page, you do need to be an ApplicantStack administrator. And in ApplicantStack, just to take a step back, there are three roles: that of an administrator, and that individual can see it all and do it all, see all candidates and create jobs and launch jobs, etc., and configure the account. An ApplicantStack recruiter can do everything an administrator can do except configure the account. And then, of course, hiring managers can see all candidates in the jobs where they have been designated as a hiring manager. So once again, your entire hiring team can be ApplicantStack users and information shared electronically. And I had mentioned signing up for the Recruit webinar on the 19th. You'll see links here. You can certainly sign up via the Recruit webinar in the announcement section of your homepage. And I just want to mention we do have Ask Me Anything hours already scheduled through January. More to come in 2024, but feel free to go ahead and register for Ask Me Anything hour seminars, webinars in the future. All right, as I mentioned, I have signed into an ApplicantStack administrator. We're talking about integrations, and what that means is ApplicantStack can talk to other software programs with whom we have developed integrations, complementary companies. So let's go ahead and get started, or complementary services. I'm going to click on my picture in the upper right-hand corner, and because I'm an ApplicantStack administrator, I do have this option for setup, which I'm going to click on. And if I navigate to the blue menu on the left, you'll see the last option is, in fact, integrations. All right, let's just briefly talk about what we see here. The first set of integrations include calendaring, so Google Calendar and Office 365. And the beauty of implementing one of these two integrations is that if you're scheduling an event, so an event by definition is an interview or a phone screen, something that is date and time stamped, you may want to be able, or you would want to be able to view the calendars of those ApplicantStack users who are part of that event. So you have the ability to do that from within ApplicantStack if you're integrated with Google Calendar or Office 365. So when you're actually scheduling an event, you can specify who your ApplicantStack users are, view their calendar, and then schedule the event accordingly when you know that they're available. So you don't have to flip between your calendaring system and ApplicantStack in order to do that. If you want to know more about Google Calendar and Office 365, you can click on the links that say Learn More. They'll bring you to our Help Center and articles specifically on that integration that you can see here. And this is discussing specifically the Office 365 calendar integration. If you choose to activate the integration, you have the ability to do so here. The reason why this says Edit Settings is my demo account is integrated with Office 365. And then continuing to move down the screen, we do offer a partnership with two assessment companies. So when you're hiring a candidate, you might want them to take a personality test, an aptitude test, a skills test, something along those lines. And we do partner with Covertus and Criteria, two companies that provide assessments. Again, you can click on Learn More about each one of those organizations and what they offer. And should you choose to create an account with one of those two, you have the ability to activate what I'm going to call the synchronization between the two software products. Again, moving along, and you can see how our partners are obviously complementary companies. They offer complementary services to ApplicantStack, Recruit, and Onboarding. And I am going to back up just 1 minute because the assessments that Covertus and Criteria offer, and if you trigger them from ApplicantStack Recruit, the results of those assessments will be housed in the ApplicantStack candidate record. Moving on to integrations with background screening. So frequently you will want to trigger a background screen for candidates prior to hiring. Our preferred vendor is Verified First, and again, they will be part of our December 19th Recruit webinar. They'll be actually demoing their product, and you'll see how seamless the integration is between ApplicantStack Recruit and Verified First. We do offer other integrations that you can see with background screening companies that include the other 4 that you see: Amerisearch, TrackOne, Accurate Now, and Career Builder. Again, you can read about these companies, you can activate the integration. It's already been developed between the two products. And once again, background screening information from any of these vendors will be housed in the candidate record. In regard to the December 19th Recruit webinar, Lauren in our marketing department also dropped the link to register for that webinar in the chat if you want to access that link. We also offer video interviewing through our partner Spark Hire. So video interviewing it really took off during COVID for obvious reasons, but video interviewing is obviously prevalent regardless. Spark Hire offers a lot of different packages and options in regard to video interviewing. It can be a one-way interview, it can be a 2-person interview. It all depends on what your processes are and what your recruiting flow might be. And then moving along, we do offer integrations with ADP, Workforce Now, and Namely. I will say, however, we're evaluating those integrations and they are on pause right now, so more information will follow on that. The final integration I'm going to talk about on our integrations page is with Access Care, and it is a home care management software company. And if you hire an individual in ApplicantStack, you can move them to Access Care for scheduling. So all of these partnerships have already been established, integrations already been developed, but you would need to get in touch with any companies that are of interest to you. Talk to them about the services they provide and corresponding pricing. If you choose a company for any one of these options, then our technical support team can help you, and I'm going to use that term again, sync up ApplicantStack with the company of interest. All right. I would also like to take a moment here and talk about job board integrations. So I'm going to move up from the integrations option on the blue menu on the left to job boards and click on job boards. And we have talked about this in past Ask Me Anything hours, but I felt the need to revisit it just since we were talking about integrations. You can obviously launch your jobs from ApplicantStack to your public job board, which is your organization's job board. We do offer an internal job board function. If for any reason you want to launch your jobs to your internal job board, maybe 5 or 10 days prior to posting externally, we have the ability to do that. And then let's talk about third-party job boards. I'm going to move down to the ones that are free of charge. So ApplicantStack can launch your jobs to Google for Jobs, Indeed's organic free feed, and LinkedIn limited postings free of charge. So LinkedIn limited postings is like LinkedIn's organic free job posting feed as well. Do note, however, that we offer integrations with Career Builder, Dice, Monster, and ZipRecruiter. So those are paid sites. So we do have the integration developed. You can launch your jobs from ApplicantStack right to those sites, Career Builder, Dice, Monster, and ZipRecruiter. However, you would need to get in touch with those companies in order to discuss their services and corresponding pricing as well. And then finally, jobs can be launched to social media sites. I'm going to consider this an integration. Let's just chat quickly that your jobs can launch to your corporate LinkedIn page for visibility on LinkedIn. And if you have, actually, I guess Twitter's a little outdated here. New name for the company, but if you have a Twitter account, you can launch your jobs there as well. The final thing that I want to talk with you about in regard to integrations here for third-party job boards, actually two things. I'm going to move back up to Job Target. Job Target is a job board aggregator. So you can launch your jobs created in ApplicantStack through Job Target to thousands of other websites, or third-party job boards, I should clarify. If you have any interest in Job Target, you have the ability to read more about our Job Target integration in our Help Center, and you can just click on the white question mark in the upper right-hand corner and Help Center. And once you click on Help Center, you can put in the search bar Job Target, and an excellent article will come up regarding our integration with that board. Job Target does offer some free sites. If it's a free site, you will still be charged a small fee in order to launch on that free site, but they offer a variety, and I say variety, they offer thousands of other job boards where you can launch your jobs. The other thing that I had mentioned that I do want to talk about is Indeed postings. Our integration with Indeed here is to launch your job to Indeed's organic free feed. And we also have the ability within ApplicantStack through our Indeed integration for you to sponsor your jobs on Indeed. And sponsor means pay to post. So this particular option, Indeed's organic free feed, is by definition free. You can sponsor your jobs You can specify a monthly budget in ApplicantStack and launch your jobs to Indeed and subsequently sponsor those jobs. So when you sponsor a job on Indeed, it provides higher visibility for that job. And as I've mentioned in past webinars, when I was a recruiter, the reason why I would pay to post would be if it were a time critical need or if it were a very tough job to fill. That was my criteria. But your criteria could be obviously something very different. The beauty of launching your jobs from ApplicantStack to any of these third-party job boards, as well as sponsoring your jobs, is any candidates that see your jobs on any of those sites have the ability to apply for those jobs. A candidate record is created in ApplicantStack, and you are managing all of your candidates from within ApplicantStack. So you're not managing on Excel spreadsheets, you're not managing via Outlook, you manage all candidates, regardless of source, in ApplicantStack. The last thing I wanted to discuss before opening up for any questions and answers was, what if we don't offer an integration with a partner that you may have? And what I'm going to do is just show you an example. Any information that is housed in ApplicantStack, typically you could create a report and export that data into a CSV formatted file. And if the software of choice or your software that you're interested in can import a CSV formatted file, then that's how you could get information from ApplicantStack to another software program. I'm currently on my Recruit page. I'm going to switch over to onboarding for a minute. This is a good use case for creating a report and exporting it. Again, ApplicantStack offers both Recruit and onboarding. You may not have onboarding. Contact us if you're interested in it. But the example for an export I'm going to use, or a report, is from ApplicantStack onboarding. And you'll notice I just have one report here. It's a new hire report. So it's just basic information in regard to new hire information. Maybe you would add start date here, maybe you would add salary. But again, you can export this data or any report to a CSV formatted file. And if I access that file, you'll see the data has been exported. You could save this to Excel if you wanted to. But this is a means of getting ApplicantStack data out of ApplicantStack and into another software program that imports CSV formatted data. So that's the final topic or integration that I wanted to discuss. And as mentioned, we'll open it up for questions and answers. Your questions and answers can be on ApplicantStack. We are not picky. And Brandon is going to help me this afternoon with any questions that might have already been submitted, but feel free to raise your hand and submit your question as well, and we will be happy to answer anything and all things ApplicantStack. Are you there?
Great. Yes, I am. Great job, Ellen. Thank you so much for explaining all that.
Sure.
The first question we have is about onboarding forms.
Okay.
And how do we update business information like phone number or address if that changes on an onboarding form?
Okay. So if I understand the question correctly, and I'm going to move to onboarding, I'm going to move to the library, navigate to the library in onboarding, and here are form templates. So if you've uploaded a form into ApplicantStack onboarding, it's a PDF, so it's a picture. You don't have the ability, unfortunately, to change any text within the form. So if I bring up, and let me think what might be a good one. We'll just bring up a W4. Okay, so here, again, this is a picture. So you don't have editing capabilities within this text. What you would need to do is go back to your original source document, whether probably a Word document, Adobe, something like that, make the changes, and then upload the document again into ApplicantStack onboarding. Oh gosh, keep going back too far. Okay. You think that was the question, Brandon?
Yep, I think that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Next question here. Is there any harm in removing folks already employed by our company? So once somebody's been onboarding or brought on board, is there any reason we wouldn't want to remove them from the database?
Okay, so again, an onboarding question. And if I go back to onboarding, and I'm just going to click on the hires tab here. This is the status of your hires and how many tasks they've completed out of how many have been assigned to them. So this is where your new hires complete the I-9, complete the W-4, complete your state tax forms, etc. So if I understand the question, I would never delete data out of onboarding because those documents you may need to refer back to in the future. But what I would suggest doing is having what we call an inactive stage in onboarding. So it could be a stage, and let me refer back to my home onboarding page. So it could be a stage such as complete, whereas your new hire has completed everything necessary in order to start on day one. And if you move hires into the complete stage, you can look at a couple things. If the complete stage is inactive, it means your new hires cannot access their onboarding portal anymore, which might be important to you, but it also means you're housing your new hire data still in ApplicantStack onboarding, and you have access to it on an ongoing basis.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is, we are currently building our onboarding module. When marking a candidate as hired, the candidate is not shifting from Recruit to Onboard. Is there anything we may be missing or recommendations on what to do?
Yes. I'm going to toggle back to recruiting. So the trigger stage to move a candidate from ApplicantStack Recruit to ApplicantStack Onboarding is the hired stage. That's the default trigger stage. However, you can submit a technical support ticket, and one of our technical support team members can make that trigger stage anything you really want it to be. If you are moving candidates to the hired stage and they're not transitioning to onboarding, it usually means that their record or their email address is already in onboarding. So to take a step back, the unique identifier for a candidate and the unique identifier for a hire is their email address. So if you're testing onboarding and you've already moved an individual from Recruit to onboarding with the same email address, they are not going to go over again. So if you're testing, you might access that hire record in onboarding, the email address to something crazy, and then try the transition from Recruit to onboarding again.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, the next question is, we're not yet using onboarding. Can the new hire still access the forms they signed?
You do need to have onboarding for your new hires to e-sign and date typically those forms that are part of your onboarding process. So again, the I-9, the federal W-4, state tax forms, and forms unique to your organization, maybe an employee acknowledgement handbook, that sort of thing. So to answer your question, you would need onboarding in order for your hires to access their onboarding portal and complete those documents.
Okay, and I would also add, if you are using onboarding and you want and you don't want the candidates to be able to access their forms once the onboarding process is completed, then you move the candidate to inactive stage, it's called. Now, not to be confused with a stage that you're not using. Inactive means that the candidate is no longer active. So a stage can be inactive but still be being used. It just means that the candidate is no longer active and can no longer access the hiring portal. So if you wanted to lock them out from their paperwork, that's how you would accomplish that.
Yep. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, the next question is, if you integrate with ADP, is the onboarding happening within ADP or ApplicantStack?
So the integration between ApplicantStack and ADP is from ApplicantStack onboarding. And one of two things can happen. You can do a manual push to ADP, or you can trigger the push to ADP at a stage change. So you can map information from ApplicantStack onboarding to ADP, and when that push happens, that information will transfer over.
Okay. The next question is, in the new hire portal, are we able to change the titles of a specific section? Example, change, quote, your manager, unquote, to a different title.
Absolutely. And that's, we actually get that request fairly frequently. So let me go ahead. I'm toggling back to onboarding. I'm going to move to the Hires tab from my onboarding homepage. I am going to access me. And let me just give a visual of I think what the question is. I'm going to view my onboarding portal via clicking on View Portal from the gray menu on the right. And you'll see this block is entitled Your Manager. That can absolutely be modified to your contact, to your HR representative, whatever you want it to be. The way to do that is to submit a technical support ticket. And one of our technical support team members can modify that for you. And while we're here, this welcome message can also be modified as well. And any applicant administrator has the ability to modify that message by clicking on their picture in the upper right-hand corner. Setup once again. This is an administrator only function. And from the blue menu on the left, if you click on settings and scroll down, here is where you have the ability to modify those instructions, and you can upload a logo for a bit of branding on your onboarding portal.
Okay, great. And the next question is, what is candidate pool? I have an applicant not yet old enough to work for us, but will return when she's of age. Is candidate pool the right stage for her?
That I think would be based on your recruiting flow. I'm going to go back to the recruiting module, and I'm actually glad you brought up this question. ApplicantStack is highly configurable, so it can mirror your recruiting processes. So what you see here in my demo account probably does not mirror what you have in your account. These are stages of my recruit flow. The new stage is where a candidate falls when they've successfully applied. We need that hired stage as well. Anything else in between can be modified. So you could create a stage called candidate pool and absolutely move candidates that aren't of age yet to the candidate pool, or you can move candidates that aren't qualified for any specific active job, but you want to keep in touch with them. They could be moved to the candidate pool as well. So yes, I think that would be an excellent use case to create a stage called candidate pool and move candidates into that stage so that you have access to those candidates as other opportunities arise.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is, can a video be attached to a task?
Wow. My knee-jerk reaction is yes, but it has to be housed publicly. Brandon, can you add anything to that?
Yeah, so you can't upload a video file to a task, but you can insert a link, like a YouTube link, to something and have that go out to have that be part of the text in the task, I believe.
Yes, it has to be housed on a public site like YouTube. And if you need any assistance with that, again, I'll defer to our technical support team and they'd be able to help you as well.
Okay. That's all the questions we have. Excellent questions. Thank you, everybody.
Are you staring at your screen to see if any questions are coming in, Brandon? That's what I always do.
Yeah, I don't see any more coming in.
Okay, then let's give it a minute and I'm just going to review other avenues of assistance. You have your account management team. Brandon and I are part of that ApplicantStack account management team, as is Carol Kennedy. In addition, I'm going to click on the question mark in the upper right-hand corner. We already discussed the Help Center here, but if I click on Help Center from the drop-down, you will notice that there is a search bar. You can input any sort of information you want to hear, and any articles and videos that match your search will appear. And it sounds like there's some folks on here that don't have onboarding. Let me just show you something here quickly. If I input onboarding in the search bar, here's a demo of ApplicantStack onboarding. It's the first one that comes up. That might be interesting for you to review and be able to grasp the full functionality of onboarding, which is the electronic assignment of new hire paperwork. So candidates or new hires aren't sitting in your conference room or your office the first day of employment. They can complete onboarding forms from the luxury of their living room. They can research what their social security number is. So there are a variety of benefits of obviously electronic onboarding. The other option that I just wanted to mention from the dropdown is ask a question. And our technical support contact link has changed recently. So if I click on ask a question, you'll see a template that appears. And you would need to input, obviously, the required information here, which is designated by a red asterisk. Provide as much of a description of your question or issue as possible. Upload files. And then once submitted, this template is transfers to our technical support team and then will be assigned to the appropriate person. And one thing I do want to mention here under the category field is there is a drop down here, but if you ever have any feature requests or ideas for product enhancements, feel free to choose that and let us know what your ideas are. Since it's you all, our customers, who are working with ApplicantStack every day. I know I've mentioned it. Here's the ApplicantStack Recruit webinar scheduled for the 19th. Our verified first partner will be with us on that webinar. And Lauren from our marketing department on this webinar link into the chat as well. Can you think of anything else, Brandon, I might have missed?
No, great job. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Nope, no more questions.
Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing all of you on the Recruit webinar on the 19th and those AMA Ask Me Anything webinars that are scheduled for or throughout January and will be scheduled throughout the first quarter soon. And as always, if you've got any questions after this webinar, feel free to contact your account manager and or submit a technical support ticket. And it is December 7th, so certainly happy holidays to all of you. And we look forward to seeing you not only in December, but in 2024. Thank you. Bye-bye.